Hello everyone. Well, I thought I would try something a bit different for today's video, at least in subject matter. I am going to talk about some dreams that I've had very recently, like within the last few days, and I'm going to attempt to draw parts of what I dreamed. Because it is a dream, it's not going to be super detailed or super specific, but hopefully it'll be at least interesting. Most of the time when I dream, and I remember the dreams, it is a full color cinematic experience. I oftentimes dream as if I was watching a movie and feeling like I am either watching the movie or I am running the camera in the movie. So sometimes the action in my dreams can be rather intense, but for whatever reason, I am usually removed from it and can enjoy watching it, I guess, for lack of a better term. Most of my most memorable dreams, for whatever reason, involve some sort of building or architecture. And so the two dreams that I'm going to talk to you today about, the main thing I'm going to talk about is the buildings that I was in. The first dream is going to be about a music studio, and the second dream is going to be about a theater. And I've dreamed about all different types of buildings, but most of them are buildings that could not necessarily be actually built, I don't think. So to start out with, I think it was 2 nights ago, I dreamed I was doing something, just walking down a hallway or something, and I came upon this staircase, and I walked down the staircase and into this massively huge music studio / library type thing. So, and I'm going to draw kind of what it would look like as if I was looking down at it from the top, even though in the dream I was walking through it. The room was oval. Something like this. And there was a balcony that ran all the way around. This way. And I came in from this direction, and right here there was a stairway that was going down, and there was another stairway over here on this side going down, and everything was made out of wood, and it was very warm and beautiful. And so, make sure you can see this. As I was walking down, let me see if I can draw this in perspective. So here's the balcony above, and the floor would be down here. And the staircase would be coming down this way. And on this far side was a huge window that would be right here. And it was letting in beautiful warm sunlight into the room. And the balcony was held up by columns. I don't think I'm doing a very good job of drawing this, but this is just a sketch. So, and these were like Greek columns up here. And they went all the way around, holding up the balcony. And just as I walked down, there was a piano that was right at the base of the stairs, like right here was a piano. But I knew it was a piano, and it looked like it was made all out of wood, but it was a rich golden wood color. So, but I can't really specifically know exactly what the piano looked like. I believe it was kind of it had the top that would open like this, and the legs came down. But I just remember that it was very ornate and old and antique looking. So I just briefly walked by that, but it was beautiful enough to get my attention. And I walked this way, and I walked towards the middle of the room. And so here's the middle of the room if we're looking down on top of it, and there's this big window. And coming down from the window was a wooden floor, and the floor in the middle was lower than the floor here around the outside. And this wooden floor sloped down and got smaller as it got towards the middle. And it was made out of a blonde type wood, almost white. And sitting here in the middle of this room, kind of in a sunken area that was lower than everything else, was this huge mechanism. And it was essentially an organ. And the pipes of the organ were here. And where the person played the organ was here. So here would be the keyboard. And these would be the pipes of the organ. They were huge. Like that. And then this back end came around like that. But there was a cage or an armature that came around the back of the organ, and it was all done in metal scroll work, something like you would see in the Victorian era. Essentially, it was very steampunk in the way it looked. And it was these cantilevered arms that came out of the back of the organ. Up above the floor. So if we were to draw it here and say this is the back of the organ with the pipes, there was a large mechanism here. And the arms would come up and out like this. And there were several of them. Some were smaller and closer in. Some were larger. And for the most parts, most of them actually came out over top of this wooden area. And on the end of each one of these arms was a seat. So it was attached like this. And the seats were all made out of wood. And there was scroll work and they were attached. Like that. And here, in the middle, was another seat. And there was probably controls here or something that could control all these arms. And in each one of these seats, there sat a musician. And in my dream, they were practicing. So they were not actually playing a full concert. So there was only like one person sitting here and maybe one or two people sitting in here. They were basically getting themselves set up to play. And the conductor was sitting here. He was controlling the arms going in and out. And I think this person was sitting here and they straddled the mechanism. And I believe they were playing like the oboe or something like that. But basically it was a small orchestra, but they were all on these arms and could be moved back and forth over top of this slanting wooden floor. Now I didn't see the background here. I didn't know if there was someone playing the organ or not. But I remember continuing to walk up, and so I came around this way and walked up to this huge mechanism. So I looked up to here and I could see the bottom of this person's feet. They were looking down at me. And I was looking at the conductor and kind of wondering how this all looked and how it worked, and just basically got caught up in looking at all the details of the metalwork and the mechanisms of how this thing was put together. And just enjoying being in such a beautiful space. And all around the outside of the room were bookshelves. Full of just old books, like an old library you might see in the Biltmore House or something like that. So that was my first dream involving architecture, and I wish that I was better at painting And I actually wish that I could take photographs in my dream and have them available to me so that I could show the beautiful colors and the rich textures that were involved in some of this. But maybe when I retire, I have the time to devote to maybe creating some artwork out of what I dream. But for right now, the time it would take to try to convey all of the rich details in my dream, I don't think it would be worth it right now. So that was the first one. So the second dream I had last night was of a theater. And it's actually quite similar in shape to the one that I just drew. So I'm going to do the same thing and kind of draw a top-down view. And it was also oval. Something like this. But of course, because it was a theater, it ended in a stage that came out something like this. So this was the curtain. This was the stage. But I didn't focus too much down here. I knew that it was very ornate. And it had like scroll work around it. Something like that. But there was also a balcony. It came around. Like this. So here would be the main floor, and there were seats down here. And the scale of this is huge. It was a massive theater. And the balcony, though, came around this way, and it actually then jutted out significantly this way over top of the first floor. And there were columns holding up the balcony like that. And so here would be the seating for the balcony. It would come around like this. And it had a huge, huge archway. Absolutely massive. It opened up into the vestibule. I don't know if this eraser works or not. It works pretty well. So this wall of the balcony came on around this way. And there was stairs on either side, just short stairs. That you see. No, here's how it worked. The stairs were here, big broad stairs that came down, and then there was seating all in here. So this wall came this way and went around like that. And then tucked into these little niches were stairs that were going down. So these stairs curl down somehow to the bottom floor. I'm not quite sure. I didn't see that part. And I came into the building through this way, and there was like a doorway on this side. And so I was looking out in this direction across. So this would be like the ceiling. This would be the balcony on the other side. And it came out like this and rose up. Like that. So like I said, this part would be the stage, but I really didn't pay much attention to that. I was trying to make my way this way, and for some reason I needed to go downstairs. So I remember seeing the stairs here coming down. I guess the balcony would be like that. And all around the outside of the balcony, going up to the ceiling, were these columns holding everything up. And the columns were also going down to the bottom floor here. So I seem to like to dream about columns. So I was entering in here, and of course there were seats all along with aisles in between, and this was one of the aisles that was coming down. So the aisle was like this, and it had steps going down. In the first part of my dream, I was just looking at these steps, and I was getting this alternate black and white striped pattern. And then there was lights all along the edges of each step as it went down. And so it would be white and then black and then bright and then white and then black and then bright. And then I looked up and I saw the whole scene where I was at. And I looked over here at the seats where people were sitting, and I saw the staircase going down this way, and I knew that I needed to make my way over to this area here. And I assumed it was like a hallway or something like this, an entrance back here. But I really wasn't looking through this. I think it was kind of dark back in here. But it was quite a ways to walk. So I went down this way, and I walked around. And I was coming around this way, and I saw somebody that I knew, sitting right here. And then the dream kind of changed from there. I never did make it down the stairs to see what was down there. These were fairly short segments of my dream, but they're the parts that I remember most vividly. There was stuff leading up to it, but it was mostly like walking down the hallway, stuff, just boring stuff. And but this was all of this part, like the carpet and the seats were red. All of this was bright red here, and the stairs were red, and all downstairs was red, and the seats were, it's like a deep burgundy red. But the walls and the columns and this part here of the balcony and the ceiling all was very white and cream colored. So there wasn't a whole lot of other colors like blues or greens. It was mostly reds and whites here, like that. So those are my two architectural dreams, as I like to call them. I'm not sure exactly what they mean. In both of them, not very much happened. There were other people in the dreams, but they were very passive and they were just kind of in the scene, but I wasn't really interacting with them very much. Some of the dreams I have are much more interactive with the other characters. Sometimes they're people I know, sometimes they're not. And sometimes there's music involved, sometimes there's not. So if you guys like this type of video, I can definitely make more as I have more dreams and as I remember them. I usually go through stages where I will wake up and know I had an awesome dream, but I won't be able to remember any of it. And then I seem to go through other stages where I can remember what I've dreamed and even sometimes participate or at least know that I'm dreaming while I'm dreaming, and sometimes change some things, but that's fairly rare. Most of the time it's just wandering around these beautiful buildings or interiors that are in my dreams. I kind of like get distracted from what's happening in my dream because I'm fascinated with all of the stuff around me. So I'm sure that there's some sort of interpretation to be had there. So thank you guys for watching, and please subscribe to my channel. I'll be making many more videos for you all. And you can also follow me on Twitter, ASMR Vids there, and also my Tumblr blog, which is Relax It's ASMR Vids. Okay? Thank you guys.